Hi everyone and welcome back to Bonnie Astrology. Today we're discussing the rare blue supermoon happening in the sign of mystical, magical and ethereal Pisces and what it means for your zodiac sign. This supermoon is happening on the 31st of August 2023 and it will be the second full moon this month, making it a rare blue moon. And when there is a blue moon, anything can happen, as goes the expression once in a blue moon. So you can expect rare and unusual events to be happening around the time of this full moon, particularly because a few days before Uranus stations retrograde, and Uranus is a very unpredictable, shocking and surprising planet. So this is going to manifest for us all collectively. I will discuss that in the video, and I will also discuss what it means for your zodiac sign specifically. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for regular updates, and if you want to follow me on my socials or contact me, the information is listed below. Do, as always, be aware that there are sometimes scammers come into the comments pretending to be my channel offering readings, or they may DM you on Instagram offering readings. It's never me. I will not reach out to you directly to solicit any kind of astrological service. So let's get into the full blue supermoon in Pisces. So housekeeping, this blue moon is going to be happening on either the 30th or the 31st of August, depending on where you are in the world. Where I am, it is happening at 1:35 a.m, the wee hours of the morning on the 31st. And it's happening at 7 degrees of Pisces. So that is particularly important if you look at your astrological chart, if you pull up your birth chart, if you happen to have any placements at 7 degrees of Pisces or Virgo, you're going to be hit directly by this blue supermoon, and it's going to be exceptionally important to you. And one good way to note that is if your birthday falls on the 30th, the 31st or the 1st of September. So the 30th to 31st of August or the 1st of September, you will be noticing this. Now, the themes of this blue moon, we're going to get into this by beginning with a blue moon theme. So obviously, as I said before, a blue moon in this case is happening as the second blue moon in a calendar month. There are other types of blue moon, but this is a super moon. So it's intensified, it's amplified, and because it's blue, it adds to these rare and perhaps unusual opportunities that can come about under a blue moon. That's where the expression once in a blue moon comes from. It can bring about occurrences, events that we don't quite expect, we don't anticipate, and that don't tend to come around very often. So do pay attention and keep your mind open this week to the serendipities, to the unexpected opportunities, and try not to discard anything that feels like a very important sign or opportunity for you. The supermoon does heighten the emotions of the full moon, and particularly because this is happening in the sign of Pisces, which is a very psychic, intuitive, mystical, magical sign. I just hear the Pisceans being like, ooh. Very mystical, magical and intuitive sign. This adds to the sense that we must lean into our intuition whenever there's an opportunity coming up or something that seems a little bit unusual, to pay attention to the signs, the synchronicities, and when our intuition is saying this might be important, this might be rare, this might be something to look into. So blue moon, rare opportunities, unexpected opportunities. The supermoon intensifies the experience, and it can also make us that little bit more emotional, particularly because this being a blue moon, which is 2 full moons in a calendar month, means that this month of August in particular is quite an emotional one, where we might be more inclined to feel things more deeply. We might be more in touch with our emotions, or we might be feeling a little bit more ruled by our emotions. Even if we're in a very logical season such as Virgo, the blue moon in Pisces is going to oppose that energy, offering an opportunity to be more in touch with our emotions. Now, it's a supermoon. It is in conjunction with Saturn in Pisces. So Saturn entered Pisces in March and Saturn went retrograde in June. And this is part of a 3-year cycle with Saturn, where this is a wider theme, and this blue moon being conjunct Saturn is going to illuminate a lot of the themes and experiences we're having under this cycle in particular. So if you think about it collectively, Pisces being the sign that rules the oceans and large bodies of water and the life within it, there may be something significant coming up. I know that in the days prior to this particular blue moon, there was supposedly a search for the Loch Ness Monster. For example, Pisces rules what is hidden, and Pisces ruling large bodies of water. such as the lock in this case. So there can be themes surrounding the water in general. Because Saturn is so karmic, this could lead to regulations, this could lead to rules. There could be a need for greater responsibility and accountability with Saturn when it comes to the water, when it comes to the oceans and preserving them. This can be, of course, possibly a bit of a challenging time when it comes to water. Saturn is a malefic after all. So be mindful of just jumping into the water willy-nilly, because there can be cases of higher water pollution. There can be cases of E. coli rising in the water. There can be chances of flooding. It's not the best time to just don your swimsuit and go for a swim, you know. There can be some negative consequences by doing that and being in the water at this time. And I know that Pisces energy makes us want to go to the water, but Saturn is restrictive, so just be careful of that. There can be accountability required where people have not been responsible, so water regulators and things like that. We may, as a collective, realize we need to rid ourselves of a victim narrative. That's a big theme of the Saturn and Pisces cycle. Where there has been a victim narrative, people are much less sympathetic when Saturn is in Pisces to playing the victim as a role. Saturn tends to restrict, it tends to make us more cool and aloof, and Pisces is a sign associated with victimhood. So this might be a case where we decide ourselves that we don't want to be a victim. We want to be, especially with the North Node now in Aries, we want to be brave, we want to be our own heroes, we want to be our own heroines, we want to be in charge of going for what it is that we want to take back a bit more control, we don't want to feel powerless. So the conjunction to Saturn might actually make you realize whereby you've been in this victim role, whether that's by your belief system or circumstance, you may be feeling this sense of, I want to take back my power, I want to take back my control. And the way that you're going to do that with this blue supermoon in particular is to set boundaries. Saturn is about setting boundaries, and in Pisces, Saturn wants us to set boundaries energetically, where we choose not to engage with the people around us that may have a very set viewpoint that we don't agree with. The energy around us, whether everyone's maybe in a very low vibrational state, you might decide, I don't want to do that. I want to set an energetic boundary and step away from it. So it might be where you're choosing not to engage in certain conversations anymore. You might be deciding not to engage in social forums online. You might be deciding you don't want to go to certain events because you know what the energy is like and you don't want to participate in it. Or you might just be able to say no to people when you want to, for example, Pisces rules sleep. You might be saying, I'm switching my phone off 2 hours before bed. You can contact me tomorrow if you need me. Those kind of boundaries. With the conjunction to Saturn in Pisces. Sometimes with conjunctions to Saturn, particularly because this is a very emotional moon, we might feel a little bit melancholic. We might feel a little bit depressed at times, a bit blue, you know, blue moon. That's why I'm wearing blue. You might be feeling a little blue at times with the conjunction to Saturn, and just know that it's trying to alert you to something hidden within you, because Pisces energy, which is my third point, Pisces energy is about getting in touch with your emotions, and it's a sign associated with cleansing. Full moons are times of release. Supermoons amplify the need to release and to let go. Blue moons also do that, because 2 full moons in 1 month mean that we have a lot of letting go to do if full moons are about releasing. So there might be some emotions come up to be cleared, to be cleansed, some pent-up emotions. Pisces is the sign that rules the 12th house in astrology. And the 12th house can be very hard for some people because they don't always realize what's going on underneath. They don't always realize that this experience, this event from the past is actually still bothering them. It's actually still running the show. And a good way to know that is if you think of something from the past, with a lot of retrograde energy. If you meet someone from the past, you hear of someone from the past, you hear from someone from the past, or you hear of them, and you feel those emotions as if it were yesterday, that's a sign it's not been cleansed, it's not been released. So this full moon is bound to give you a bit of a greater understanding of where you're at emotionally. Pisces is a very emotional sign, so you might need a good cry, you might need a good scream, a good howl, whatever it is. You might need to sit in a salt bath for an hour or 2, but you're going to feel the need to cleanse yourself energetically or emotionally. Now, Pisces is a sign associated with the dream world as well, so your dreams may actually be premonitions. You may be getting signs, you may be getting symbols, pay attention to them, journal them. Write about what you experienced. Try and intuit what it's trying to tell you. Pay attention to reoccurring signs and synchronicities that you're seeing, and try and intuit what they might be trying to tell you. This is also a time of paranormal experiences. Pluto and Neptune are sextile, and Neptune is, of course, the ruler of Pisces. Pluto is the ruler of the underworld. You may have paranormal visits in your dreams by deceased relatives, ancestors, people you knew that have since passed on during your lifetime. You might also be noticing signs from ancestors and guides, white feathers here and there where they shouldn't really be. You might notice the lights doing unusual things, your candles doing unusual things. You might just feel presence where you can't explain it. So do pay attention to the signs that you might be encountering. Vivid dreams of ancestors and the deceased are probably visitations, and they may be giving you very important messages under this blue moon and in the 2 weeks that follow. So do pay attention. It is a great time to go to a medium, a tarot reader, a Reiki healer, a shaman, anybody who is in touch with the other realms and the deeper layers of your consciousness. This is also a good time with Pisces to forgive others, and in this sense I will say, particularly because Mars is in Libra. Libra is to do with relationships to others, and Mars is going to connect with the South Node in October. There's going to be an ongoing theme of forgiveness and letting go, and it's not for the other person. But with this blue moon being conjunct Saturn, it might be worthwhile thanking someone for the lesson, even if it's just in your own mind, being grateful for the lesson that it taught you. That may be what forgiveness looks like for you with this blue moon. My fourth point about this is that at the time of this blue moon, 6 planets are going to be in retrograde. What you experience under this blue moon, what comes up for you, what rare opportunities, what rare experiences, what manifestations, what is culminating around this time, there's no need to rush. There's no need to jump onto the epiphanies, the realizations, and the emotional process and speed things up. Things can, of course, at different times in our life with different planets, be accelerated. Say you have a Uranus transit. But what's going on with this is that whatever comes up, allow yourself to sit with it. Allow yourself to swim in it with Pisces energy. Feel the emotions, experience them. And if you're having very unusual spiritual experiences, allow yourself to be present with those. You don't have to suddenly run and Google it. You don't have to run and tell everyone. You don't have to write that book about it. You don't have to tell the world. You can just sit with the energy. It's quite a big energy. With 6 planets in retrograde, you're bound to be getting to know yourself a lot better, to be more inward focused, to be more conscious of your experience. And in a world that is quite rushed at times, this is quite a nice time to just sit back and be present and be still, because still waters run very deep with Pisces energy. And the depth may be something worth exploring. You know, most of our oceans are unexplored. And so a lot of our unconscious is unexplored. When we have a vivid dream, when we have a very unusual experience, we can sometimes get little glimpses into what is hidden within us. And that type of information can be incredibly important in shaping the life that we want to have going forward. So do pay attention to what's coming up for you at this time. It tends to be, I've noticed, because I take a lot of walks by the water. The water is literally right outside my window. Or I take a lot of walks by the water or the beach, and a lot of the time with supermoons, with full moons in general, but with supermoons, a lot of debris gets washed up onto the shore. And that is kind of a good representation of supermoons emotionally. A lot of the debris within us gets washed up too. So if you feel a bit more sensitive, you feel a bit like you need to cry, you feel a little bit like you need to take some time to yourself and journal, meditate, tap into your psychic gifts, pull some tarot cards. It can be a really beautiful place to sit and experience with this many planets in retrograde. My 5th point about this is that Uranus actually stations retrograde a few days before this blue moon on the 28th of August. That's important because when Uranus stations, sometimes there can be an unexpected or surprising event, occurrence, realization that comes up. And when any planet goes retrograde, we know that it's a time to revise the themes of that planet in our own lives. And with it being Uranus, we're being asked to reconsider when it comes to change, what is our relationship with change, making changes, how do we roll with the punches, how do we roll with the changes that we can't control. we're being asked to revisit this kind of relationship that we have with change, and how we make it, and how free we feel, and what we do with that freedom. So you might be noticing concepts coming up about your independence, your authenticity, your freedom, your autonomy. And this can be a really good time to consider if you're not doing enough from those places, if you're not acting independently, if you're not choosing with a sense of personal autonomy, if you're not feeling free, what needs to change? It's a good time to revisit that and reconsider that. So I'm going to get a tarot card for the blue moon in Pisces and see what comes up. I know that in my last reading that I did for Mercury retrograde in Virgo, the High Priestess came up, which was giving a nod to the importance of this blue moon already. But let's have a little look and see what the blue moon in Pisces theme is. Queen of Cups. That is very appropriate. And that literally looks like me here sitting on a sofa in blue. Very appropriate. So I think with the Queen of Cups, it's all about owning our emotions, feeling okay with having these different types of emotions and depths, and appreciating the depths in other people as well. We can only meet people as much as they've met themselves, as deeply as they've met themselves. And I think with the Queen of Cups, she's very comfortable in the role of a nurturer, of an empath, of someone who's understanding, compassionate. She knows how she feels and she's okay with that. And I feel as though we're asked under this full moon to get in touch with that energy, to step into that space where we feel okay with feeling, because not everybody does. Different levels of being okay with your emotions depending on how you were brought up, what you experienced. And this blue moon really wants us to get in touch with those feelings. And notice with the Four of Cups, what feelings and emotions we tend to reject and why. Where we tend to cut ourselves off from our intuition, where we tend to cut ourselves off from our own emotions, our feelings, where we reject that from others, and how we can balance that with the practical day-to-day. So how you are balancing your physical health and wellness and your routines with Virgo with your mental and spiritual wellness. So that can be when you wake up in the morning, is everything, everyone has different levels of things. If you have kids, it's much harder to take time for yourself in the morning. If you have to be at work extremely early, it's much harder to take time for yourself. But if you can find some way in your day, whatever your routine looks like, I wouldn't advise, because there's too many people with too many different routines, something in your day for you to be in touch with your own self. Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, whether that is lighting a candle and meditating, lighting a candle and literally just lying there and staring at a space in the wall and getting in touch with your feelings. Because sometimes when you lie in stillness, your body will tell you what's going on with you very quickly. So whatever that looks like to you, with Virgo and Pisces being the health axis, and Virgo season being all about routines, and Mercury retrograde asking us to reflect on our health and routines, what is it that you'd like to change in order to accommodate more Piscean, ethereal, magical, mystical, and spiritual energy? Whether that's a visualization, a guided meditation, sitting in silence, laying in the bath for an hour in Himalayan salt, whatever that looks like for you. Let's get into what this means for each of the individual zodiac signs before I lose my voice. I hope you have a beautiful and blessed full moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Pisces, welcome to the blue supermoon in your sign. Pisces rising, sun and moon. Now this is mostly applicable to Pisces rising. As always, the horoscopes are written from the perspective of the ascendant, but if you are a Pisces sun or moon, this is going to be applying to you too, especially if your placements are around 7 degrees of Pisces. But either way, hair on my face. Either way, you're being noticed. This is happening in your first house. You're star of the show effectively. The spotlight is on you. You're being illuminated by a very large supermoon. And it's a blue moon, and blue is your color. So you're probably looking pretty spectacular around this time, Pisces. You're probably finding that you're attracting a lot of attention. People are more interested in what you're doing. You're coming across as a rare catch, a rare find, catch of the day, so to speak, because you are the sign representative of the fish. This is ruling your physical body and your physical appearance. Now, the conjunction to Saturn, some of you may find that you have lost weight around this blue moon, especially if that's been a goal of yours. You may find that you're needing to pay attention to your teeth, your bones, and your joints with this being conjunct Saturn. So if you feel you need to book a dentist appointment, if there's something that you want to change about your teeth, if you've had issues with your bones since March when Saturn entered your sign, there can be some sort of clarity and illumination with Saturn conjunct the blue moon in your sign. You may look more beautiful and charming, and you probably have an air of etherealness and enchantment. So do get out there, because you're likely to be very magnetic to opportunities and to people, particularly if you're single. If you're single, particularly to people from the past, because Mercury is retrograde in your 7th house. You're more likely to be enchanting other people around you. So try to do something special and something quite rare for yourself. Go to an event you wouldn't usually go to. Buy something for yourself you wouldn't usually buy. You may see some results around this time because of the responsibility and the accountability that you've had to take since Saturn entered your sign back in March. You've likely since then felt your age a little bit with Saturn being in your sign. You might have had to take on a bit more responsibility. You might have had to focus on taking better care of yourself, your health, your emotional health as well, your well-being. And this is a wonderful time to practice self-love and acceptance. And as I say, see some results from the responsibility you've been taking on. You are indeed probably going to be in somebody's mind a rare find, whether that is that you're dating, whether that is it's happening in the workplace, whether you are just what somebody is looking for in terms of the work you do, the services you provide, your appearance, your personality. It feels like you're really the catch of the day, Pisces. And I think this blue moon is about letting go of old perceptions as well of yourself. So let's have a little look, Pisces, and see what comes up for you. Ooh, got one. The star of the show is so appropriate. And we have the Three of Pentacles. Do you know what? There's people that you are an absolute star to at the moment, Pisces. There's people around you that are thinking that you are the bee's knees. You're impressing people around you. You're impressing the communities around you. With Uranus being in your 3rd house, I want to bet that you're probably going to be encountering people around this time that are quite different to what you usually do. I think in some community, in some social network, somewhere your star is shining very brightly and other people are very drawn to you, Pisces. That can be in many different places, but I feel like you're perhaps the star of some kind of community, some kind of project. Maybe even you're the star of the show at work for whatever reason. The Wheel of Fortune, there's very fated events taking place under this blue moon. I think some of you may have a shot at fame if you're in that kind of industry with the star and the Wheel of Fortune. You may have a very fortunate opportunity also comes to you, Pisces, maybe through a friend, maybe through someone you work with, somebody that you're linked to in a community sense. It's like a friend of a friend situation. So pay attention to the suggestions and opportunities coming from other people because they might be quite fated. And if I'm not wrong, I think that during the Mercury retrograde video, similar cards came up for you. Could be wrong, but you may also find yourself encountering an Aquarius sun moon rising in some significance at the time of this blue moon. That's what I have for you, Pisces, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aries, sun moon rising. Welcome to the blue moon in Pisces. So Aries, this one is happening in your 12th house. It's quite emotional. It's quite sensitive. This may be a time of karmic endings. You might be having to let go of something, of someone. I think for a lot of you, you could be dealing with feelings of grief and loss. The 12th house is associated with grief, and with Saturn there might be a profound loss that you're experiencing in your life. And I don't know what that is, but it could be the loss of perhaps a particular type of future you envisioned, the loss of someone you loved very dearly, something you loved very dearly. There could be feelings of missed opportunities. Whatever it is that's coming up for you at the time of this blue moon, Aries, it could be a little bit of a purge. I also think you could be dealing with very psychic and paranormal experiences. The veil is incredibly thin with this supermoon, and to happen in your 12th house, your dreams are probably very vivid. They're probably very important. You're probably having dreams of deceased family members, deceased pets, deceased loved ones. It could be a time where people from the past are popping up as well in your dreams, and you're encountering all these emotions. Listen to your intuition, listen to the messages. This isn't a time, Aries, to doubt your intuition. This isn't a time to say it couldn't be. This is a time where there's very little boundary between you and the other world, and you and your unconscious. So what comes up for you could be really enlightening and really important and really rare, with this being a blue moon. So it can be a good time to practice boundaries, especially if there's people around you, particularly at work, that are trying to control you. So it's conjunct Saturn. Saturn rules your 10th house. Saturn also rules your 11th house. So whether it's your boss or your friends, practice boundaries with these people. Say no. Learn to say no. Learn to say not right now. Learn to say maybe later. Well, that's not really a boundary. Learn to say no whenever someone is overstepping. Learn to say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not comfortable with that. I would rather you didn't do that. You know, set a boundary with this being conjunct Saturn in your 12th house, because you may need to. I also feel with this being in the 12th house that you could be perhaps deciding that you're going to take a very important trip. There could be something coming up about a long distance trip, a foreign land coming up for you at this time, Aries. This could be something that's very important to you with the conjunction to Saturn, or it's going to require some degree of responsibility. With the 12th house, let's see what your card is, Aries. Two of Swords. I think a lot of you are feeling very blocked off. I note that the Hermit is underneath. Try not to cut yourself off from your intuition. Try not to cut yourself off from your emotions. It will make you feel like there's a stalemate if you do. And with Uranus having just gone retrograde in your 2nd house, I think a lot of you need to be very aware of your boundaries, and where there needs to be some degree of your boundaries and your values, and where there needs to be some kind of change because things feel stuck. Things feel stagnant. And I think, Aries, they're going to feel very stagnant where you're not listening to your intuition, because the North Node is in your sign now, and you're very much leaning in new directions. You're leaning down new pathways. With the Hermit energy and this being 12th house, you may want to spend some time alone, and that's okay. Especially if you're wanting to spend time alone to get clarity on a matter where you just don't feel right. You just don't feel that this makes sense for you. Something feels off. Maybe you can't locate it in your body. Maybe you can't locate it in your mind. Let go, and the answers will appear for you, Aries. That is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Taurus, welcome to the blue moon in Pisces. So Taurus, this is happening in your 11th house of friendships, your teams, your social networks. There could be kind of a rare and unusual party to attend, a very strange function. I'm talking about some sort of event or party or social networking experience where the people are maybe a bit different than what you usually encounter. There's maybe something that is rare about it. You might get invited to a gala that you would never be invited to ordinarily. There could be a new friend pops up that this is a big part of your karmic chapter, and this is a very unusual friend, or this is a very serendipitous way of meeting a friend. I also think with Saturn being in the mix, you're going to know with this blue moon who your friends truly are, who you can depend upon, who you can reach out to, who's going to be real with you and honest with you, who's going to draw boundaries with you, which is just as important as you drawing boundaries with other people, so that you know where you stand with the people that you associate with, that you see as friends, for example. You can get a lot of really important insights through the groups and the teams that you're a part of. I also think that as the 11th house rules the future, you might be trying to get very real about the future with Saturn. You might be kind of serious about it. And you may realize under this blue moon, if I want this type of future, I'm going to have to start doing these things differently. Maybe in career, maybe in terms of education, you might need to make some changes in these areas to create the future that you want. I also feel with this being the house of wishes, Taurus, there may be a wish comes true for you under this blue moon in Pisces. This might be a very good time to manifest. This might be a very good time to speak things into existence, call something into existence that you've wanted for a long time, that you've wished for. Stay open to blessings and opportunities. 3 of Swords. Okay, let's get one more card and see what that's about. Page of Pentacles. Do you know what? With the 3 of Swords and the Page of Pentacles, I think there may be a chance with this conjunction to Saturn in the 11th house that there is maybe someone in your circle that you need to let go of. There might be a need to go back to the books on something with Saturn ruling your 9th house. Perhaps you need to study a little bit harder. Perhaps you need to work a little bit harder on a project. Perhaps you're realizing that you're still relatively new at something you're trying to accomplish, Taurus, and it's saying to you to be patient with that. With everything in retrograde, it's okay to take your time. It's okay to reflect on what it is that needs to change and what needs to be done. And sometimes the best path forward is actually making a mistake so that we're not blindly going down any further. We're taking the mistake, we're learning the lessons, we're taking the accountability, we're bringing that into the open so that we can move forward. That's what I have for you, Taurus, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Gemini, welcome to the blue supermoon in the 10th house for you. So Gemini, this is putting you into the spotlight in some way. This is to do with your public image, it's to do with your career. Now it is obviously in conjunction to Saturn, and it is opposite the sun in your 4th house of home, family, and your private life. So with this being the 10th house, 4th house axis for you, it's quite sensitive. It's quite important. And the conjunction to Saturn, it can bring sometimes this sense of responsibility, authority, into your life where you have to step into taking on more responsibility. You have to step into a higher position. You have to step up in some way, shape, or form. Maybe maybe being a leader in some kind of event, maybe being a leader to your family, maybe being a leader at work, maybe deciding that you want to release something when it comes to your career because it is not aligning with your future. You don't think it's sustainable. You don't think it's going to work for you going forward because you're taking these matters very seriously, whatever is going on for you at the moment, Gemini. This blue moon could bring rare occurrences, very unusual occurrences, unexpected occurrences. It can also bring rare opportunities. So you may have an opportunity for a new career path, a new calling, and you might be taking it more seriously. Now, I always say to people whenever they have Saturn going through the 10th house that it tends to represent a turning point in your life. For example, for me, when Saturn crossed my midheaven, I became a practicing astrologer. I started to bring it in as a career choice. And that was a huge turning point for me, but it also was during a time where I felt very lost career-wise and I felt very alone. So Saturn can do that. It can make you feel a little bit lonely and isolated. And in your case, Gemini, maybe you're taking on more responsibility in career and it's a little bit lonelier at the top. Maybe you're wanting to step back from your career and you're maybe feeling a bit of a loss and you're feeling this new space that has to be filled. Maybe there's things going on in your family with Mercury retrograde in your 4th house of home and family, and there's a lot of things that need to be taken care of, and you're thinking, how does this work with my career, public life, private life balance? Know your limitations with Saturn. Know how much you can do, know how much you're capable of giving right now. Maybe delegate to other people. It's Virgo season, ask for help. You could get a promotion, you could get a raise, or as I say, a very rare opportunity, but because this is Pisces, listen to your intuition on the matter, Gemini. Let's get a card for you and see what comes up. The Two of Cups, interesting. So connection. I do feel that for a lot of you, perhaps there is a need to connect deeper with other people. In the Chariot card, maybe the need to take a lead in a business relationship or in a relationship in general. Maybe things are actually, for you, Gemini, going to be moving forward in some way, shape, or form. With so much in retrograde, do take your time. The Chariot is indeed a vehicle, but you don't have to drive it at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But it does feel as though perhaps with a key connection in your life, Gemini, things might be moving forward. And it is also saying to you to go see people that you feel supported by, that you feel connection with, and to make sure that you are, Gemini, connecting with other people. You know, Uranus is now doing a backspin in your 12th house of isolation, and you might be noticing with it being Uranus and it being to do with personal autonomy and freedom that you've been isolating yourself a little bit more so that you can be yourself, but you can find connections where you can do that with them as well. So if you feel like you've been changing on the inside, Gemini, it's very likely around the time of this blue supermoon that there will be people around you have changed in similar fashions and that you can maybe connect with on a better one-on-one level. That's what I have for you, Gemini. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Cancer, welcome to the blue moon in Pisces for your sign. So Cancer, this is happening in your 9th house. So your belief system, your faith, your relationship to spirituality, philosophies are all coming into play with the blue moon in Pisces here. You might be having a change of faith. You might be changing your viewpoint of the world, your philosophy with this being a blue moon. There could be a rare event that perhaps makes you believe in something new. You might have a religious epiphany, a spiritual experience that perhaps changes you in some way, Cancer. With this being in your sector of higher education and higher learning, if you're in these areas, if you're at university, you're at college, you're getting a certification, you might be getting your degree, you might be graduating, you might be getting results, there might be some sort of significant commitment here with Saturn. So maybe you're starting university for the first time, maybe you're taking a new course, you're going to have to study very hard, you're going to have to take these things very seriously with Saturn. And if you get results around this time that aren't good, I think it's going to spur you to take things more seriously. Or in education, you might decide, this isn't the thing for me, I want to do this instead. I want to take this course, do this degree instead, because this isn't in alignment with who I am, with Saturn being there. I think you're going to challenge your own limitations of the world, perhaps of travel, perhaps of your horizons, stepping out of your comfort zone. You know, you might feel very safe with Saturn in the 9th house in terms of staying at home, not traveling as much as you'd like to, or you might not be as inclined to travel, but perhaps with this being a blue moon, there could be a rare opportunity to travel, to take a trip of a lifetime, to study something very important, to any kind of rare opportunity that it will require a lot of commitment with Saturn. It will require a lot of effort, but it could be a very rare find, a very rare opportunity for you, Cancer. You might be finding around this time that you're having to study very hard on something, learn something new, take courses, training. And with Mercury retrograde, this could be stuff that you've learned before. These could be courses you've done before, training sessions you've done before, workshops you've done before. And this blue moon is bringing that into significant importance for you. The devil. Ooh, Cancer. Know your limitations. Where are you feeling a little bit trapped? Where are you feeling a little bit stuck? Where is the devil in your life? Is it what you're eating? Is it what you're drinking? Is it a person? Is it a belief system? It's probably a belief system with the devil card here. Is it some kind of vice in your life that you're thinking with this full moon in the 9th house? You're changing your perspective and saying, no more. I have to cut this out. I have to cut this off. The conjunction to Saturn is making you realize that this is a very unhealthy limitation. This is a very unhealthy burden, and you're getting quite serious about it, Cancer. That's what I have for you. I hope you have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Leo, welcome to the blue moon in your 8th house. So Leo, this one could be quite emotional. The 8th house is the house of intimacy. It's a house of shared connections, shared resources, where we connect with another person when we share, whether that is we share our vulnerable side in the form of intimacy, whether that is that we share our finances. It is what we inherit both financially and energetically from other people, maybe even beliefs from other people. And you might be gaining a lot of awareness in what these are, what you've inherited from your parents in terms of belief systems, fears, phobias, psychological tendencies, mental health. You might be also noticing what you have inherited financially. Perhaps there's a tax rebate comes up at this time. Perhaps you become very clear on your finances. And with this being the 8th house, it's also the occult, it's also mystery. You could come into contact with a really important astrologer, tarot reader, shaman at this time. You could be becoming very aware of your own gifts in these areas and perhaps deciding you want to take them more seriously with Saturn as well. But boundaries do need to be drawn up in your connections, particularly your intimate or financial connections. So whether it's your spouse, whether that is your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, it's important to draw boundaries. It's also important to, within relationships, acknowledge your own shadow side, the part of yourself that you don't enjoy so much but is part of who you are. And in order to be truly vulnerable with other people, you have to be able to share it and also be comfortable with it, and maybe draw boundaries and what that looks like for you. Maybe that you are realizing there's certain traits of your own that you'd like to work through with a therapist, a psychologist, because they're not showing up in the world the way that you want them to, or showing up in your connections, or even blocking your connections somewhat. There could also be a very important secret comes out around this time for you as well, Leo. It could be very unexpected. And you have to ask, with all the baggage that you're carrying, is it yours to carry? This is quite a psychological one for you. I think a lot of you might have a psychological turning point where you see a matter very differently, particularly if it's, mental health, if it's psychological health. I think some of you may be deciding that you want to go back to a therapist. You want to try some sort of therapy or healing practice again, because maybe you're realizing and you're getting clarity on some issues and stuff that you want to bring up with someone who can help you do that. Again, that could also be the alternative route of shamans and astrologers, because I do think with the 8th house, there could be a loss involved. It could be, Leo, that you are mourning something, the loss of something, the loss of someone, or you may be dealing with a feeling of melancholy, a feeling of sadness, a feeling of depression that you want to work through. And what's interesting about the 5 of Cups is it usually is linked to perspective. And with the 2 cups still standing, it feels for you, Leo, that there are people who want to connect with you more deeply, more intimately, to be vulnerable with you, for you to be vulnerable with them. And I think that that kind of connection at this blue moon is what is going to serve you at this time. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Virgo, welcome to the blue moon in your relationship sector. So Virgo, this is to do with relationships, your spouse, your marriage, your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your business relationship, your best friend. The heavy side of this, conjunction to Saturn, unhappy relationships or unworkable relationships, relationships that are not going to last, relationships that are not built for the long term, they may end with this conjunction to Saturn. There's no way in sugarcoating that. It's a super moon. It's very emotional. It's a time of release. The conjunction to Saturn is a let's get serious energy. If they're not working, you may let them go, or they may be let go energetically speaking. However, this can also be that if you're in a happy relationship or a relationship that is for the long haul, you commit deeper, you get engaged, you get married, you set a date for the wedding, you move in together, you decide you're going to have children. There can be a deeper commitment required of your relationship at this time, Virgo. So that can be that perhaps, there's a big event or milestone coming up in your relationship, and it's going to require commitment. Say, for example, you're getting married. You're maybe discussing, what does this look like for us? What will this be? What do we both need from the relationship? You're having kids. You're saying, well, how are we going to make our relationship work? What are we committing to each other as well? Deeper commitment within your relationships may be required this time, or your partner might have to be committing to something. Say you're in a relationship with someone and perhaps you're finding out they're getting a promotion. They're going to have to work more hours. They're going to have to dedicate more time and responsibility to something. They could be buying a house, buying a property, whatever it is. Your partner may be experiencing something that they're committing to at this time as well. For those of you that are single, this can bring in a new soulmate, someone who's karmic. It doesn't have to be bad. With Saturn, karmic partners can be that you have things to do in this lifetime, and those can be great things. They can be challenging things. So you either could be meeting a karmic partner or perhaps letting go of a karmic partner as well, Virgo, but there's a huge emphasis on your relationships. I do think if you're single, this could be a very rare person. This could be a once in a lifetime opportunity, the type of person you've never met before. If you're in a relationship, you could be doing something very different. There could be a once in a blue moon thing happening in your relationship, to your relationship. But it looks like for you, Virgo, the focus is primarily on the person you're in a relationship with, or perhaps a potential relationship. And this can be business, this can be a best friend, it could be a very unforeseen, unusual event happening for you within that relationship, Virgo. King of Wands, this could be a fire sign person, Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo that you're in a relationship with. This could be a potential relationship for some of you with the King of Wands there. Definitely fire sign. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius people are repping having in your reading, Virgo. So if you have a partner who is an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, they may be requiring a bit more of your attention at this time, especially with the 7 of Wands there. They may be fighting for your attention. If you're single, it may be that you are attracting someone who is very outgoing, very extroverted, and someone who probably will put up they will definitely defend their principles and their values, is what I'm seeing with that person. So that is what I have for you, Virgo, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi, Libra. Welcome to the full moon in Pisces for your sign. Libra, this is happening in your 6th house of your work, your wellness, and your routine, so your health. This is conjunct Saturn. So when it comes to your health, your physical well-being, you're going to be taking it more seriously. This is going to be a very important thing for you to look at, to take awareness of, whether that is you're getting very clear on your diet. You might be cutting out some foods from your diet, whether that is because of intolerances, allergies. I do actually know 2 Libras who literally went to get their food intolerances checked. So that could be something coming up with the 6th house. For you, Libra, maybe cutting something out of your diet, taking it very seriously, restricting a little bit with Saturn. And I don't mean that in a toxic way. I just mean that maybe you're deciding you've been taking too much sugar and you want to cut back on it a little bit. If you're having an ongoing health issue that is surrounding bones, your joints, or aging in general with the conjunction to Saturn, I think you could be getting some clarity. I think you could be getting some understanding of what's going on with you physically, especially if it has been something that has been restricting you in some way, shape or form, Libra. But you're taking your health and your wellness more seriously. If you've been working very hard on something and committing to your health, you may see results at this time too. You may in general be wanting to get organized, to declutter your space, declutter your home. You could be perhaps trying something very out of the blue with wellness, doing something very different to what you usually do. So if you're a Libra who's not very spiritual or not very holistic or into the alternative remedies, you could be deciding you want to try acupuncture. You could be deciding you want to try Reiki. This is something that would probably be quite good for you in the long run, Libra. Obviously not giving health advice, you take accountability for that. With the conjunction to Saturn, you definitely take accountability of that. But I think when it comes to your health and your wellness, with the blue moon, trying something a little bit different could be really good to you, especially with so much in your 12th house and Mars being in your 1st house. If it is linked to you really getting in touch with yourself and what's going on with you internally, Mars in your 1st house, you're going to want to push it. You're going to want to hit the gym. You're going to want to work hard. You need to know your limitations because it's going to conjunct with the South Node. And if you push yourself too hard physically, Libra, with no limitations or, something put in place for you in a health matter, you could injure yourself quite badly. When Mars conjuncts the South Node, you might have to let go of something. So with it being in your physical body, you don't want to push yourself too hard that you can't do what you love to do anymore. You know what I mean? So just be careful, be very accountable when it comes to health wellness. Take it a bit more seriously than usual. And you may actually, if you have been doing that, see really great results. There can also be a change with your job, Libra, with your employment. You could be leaving a job. With the conjunction to Saturn, it might just not have long-term potential, or you could be getting an opportunity with work. That is a once in a blue moon kind of opportunity. Yes. So the 4 of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Wheel of Fortune. There might be an opportunity coming in for you work-wise that you did not see coming. Be careful. Make sure you pay attention to offers that are made to you, options that come up, especially in the workplace, maybe from other employees, maybe from a manager, maybe from a co-worker. They might have something to tell you or share with you that could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, or there could be some kind of opportunity that I feel you may miss if you're in the wrong mindset. That's what I have for you, Libra, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising. Welcome to the full moon in Pisces. This is in your 5th house. So a lot of you could be attending a party. This could actually be for some of you a blue moon party or a full moon party or something like that if you're traveling and you're in a country that does those type of things, or someone could be having these type of things. It could be a rare party, a type of party you don't usually go to. This could be an unexpected event. This could be somewhere that you've never been before. There could be something a little bit different and unusual about this as well, Scorpio. Because Saturn is conjunct this blue moon and it rules your 4th house and your 3rd house, this could be a neighborhood party. This could be a house party. This could be your own party in the home that you're having that's an unusual occurrence for you. Maybe you're celebrating buying a house. I don't know, but there could be some sort of house party coming up for you at this time. This also puts matters of births and children into importance here. So if you have children, regardless of whether they're very young or whether they're adult children, they're in the they're being highlighted at this time. They're of great importance to you. These could also be kids within your family. It doesn't have to be your own children. There could be a birth occurring. There could be something coming up with a child that maybe you might, I'm not going to lie, with the conjunction to Saturn, have to take quite seriously. You might have to make some sort of commitment, or you could have a child making a commitment to something. Say they're starting school for the first time and it's going to be a lot of dedication from them, of course, or it's going to be perhaps you have a child, an adult child getting married or something like that. You could also be committing to a creative project and taking it very seriously, Scorpio. So especially if you're a Scorpio rising and you're creative, you're in entertainment, or you're in a creative profession, there might be something that you're taking very seriously with the conjunction to Saturn. You might have to really take it seriously, especially if it's to do with writing, with Saturn ruling your third house, your communication. There could be something that is going to take a lot of dedication and commitment, or perhaps there's something coming up for you, like a creative project where you're getting a result at this time. But with it being a blue moon, it could be quite rare. It could be quite exciting. Exes may be on the cards here. The 5th house does rule love, and it rules romance. So someone from the past, with Mercury and Venus both retrograde, an ex could reappear. An ex could be of significance, or you could be reconnecting with someone. Someone could be reconnecting with you. So it doesn't have to be an ex, but it could be a reconnection. With Mercury and Venus both retrograde, certainly someone from the past could reappear, or an old romantic prospect could appear as well, Scorpio. Let's get a card for you. See what comes up. Ace of Cups, very romantic, very playful, very emotional. I think a lot of you could be feeling very creative, very emotional, very romantic at this time. It may be that there is a romantic interest on your mind, Scorpio, that is an earth sign, a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, or there could be new love on the horizon for some of you. If there's new love, I feel like this person reminds you of someone from the past, or they're quite like an ex of yours in some way, shape or form, or it could be someone that you used to know through work, someone that you used to know through your career, Scorpio, or someone that you meet through your career that is romantic. Or if you're in a relationship, I feel like a lot of you could be doing something creative together or planning something creative for the future together, and there could definitely be news of births and pregnancies at this time, Scorpio. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to the blue moon in Pisces. So Sagittarius, this is happening in your sector of home, family, and your foundations. Blue moons are quite rare, so if you're looking for a home or you're thinking of moving, this could bring up a dream home, a rare find, something very unexpected, a once in a blue moon kind of opportunity when it comes to your living situation. It could also be a very rare move that you're making. You might have thought you wouldn't move before, and now all of a sudden the right place is coming up and you're thinking it's time to go. It could also lead to you wanting to declutter and clean up your home space, and also maybe a little bit of an emotional purge when it comes to family matters, whether that is that you have some stuff from the past, say your parents went through an awful divorce when you were young, or say you had a loss in your family. There could be emotional stuff coming up surrounding the concept of family, surrounding the concept of home, your home environment, your living situation. And there might be a little bit of an emotional purge coming up for you surrounding family matters, surrounding what makes a home a home. Some of you could be starting a family or starting a new chapter within your family that's going to require, with Saturn, a lot of commitment. It's going to require a lot of responsibility. So that could be having children, that could be buying a home and getting a mortgage. Saturn's very committed, and it's going to be restrictive in some way, shape or form, Sagittarius. So perhaps, you know, that could be requiring a lot of financial restrictions because you're having to put money into the home. But whatever it is, Sagittarius, the events could be quite rare. They could be quite unexpected. So do just lean into the changes that are happening for you. The 4th house is very sensitive. So I feel like there could be a change in your home life and your family life with a family member, maybe with a father, with the conjunction to Saturn, that really has you in your feelings, or really has you feeling quite emotional, sentimental, and nostalgic. With so much in retrograde, Sagittarius, nostalgia could be running really high under this blue moon in particular. And I think a lot of you are perhaps feeling that you're really growing and maturing when it comes to home, family matters, property matters, since Saturn has been in that sector. Got the family card. Since Saturn has been in that sector since March. We have the 6 of Cups, home, family, nostalgia. Just what I said, the cards always know. Home, family, nostalgia. I think some of you could be reconnecting to people from the past. I think you could be hearing from people that you grew up with, that you used to connect with. You could be reaching out to people. You might be feeling more sentimental, more nostalgic, more emotional than usual. If you have children, you might be wanting to pay more attention to them. You might be wanting to visit your grandparents if you haven't in a while. You might be wanting to go back to where you grew up, but there's a very nostalgic, sentimental feeling happening for you with this blue moon, Sagittarius. That is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Capricorn, welcome. So Capricorn, this blue moon, it's going to be conjunct your ruling planet. So this blue moon for you could be particularly emotional. You could be feeling very sensitive. You could be feeling very in touch with your feelings. If you're feeling a little bit more depressed or melancholic than usual, do reach out to somebody, do connect with someone, whether it's a sibling, a cousin, a neighbor, a community of people, a group of people, friends that you're a part of. Do reach out to somebody and connect, because this full supermoon wants you to connect to people. The third house is about communication. You might have some very serious news to share. You might have to discuss some stuff that you're not necessarily comfortable discussing. You might have to speak up. You might have to tell people what's going on with you, or you might have to tell people about a commitment you're making, a responsibility that you have, and maybe ask for help. You know, with this being such a community-based house, maybe ask for help. Perhaps you're committing to something you want to learn, a short course, a workshop, or something you want to teach. Maybe you're committing to a teaching profession or teaching a course or a workshop, taking a course or a workshop, or committing to a hobby of some kind where you're going to learn to do something. I do think as well, with this being such a communication-based house, Capricorn, maybe you're deciding that you finally want to write that book, start that blog, post something. You maybe want to be quite serious about your social media for some reason, maybe what your message is, maybe what you're trying to say online, or what it is you're trying to say in general. I feel like you're more serious about it. And at times with the conjunction to Saturn, you might feel more restrictive about it. You might be really wanting to share something you wouldn't ordinarily share. Just remember, Mercury is retrograde in Virgo, and perhaps it's good to think about it a few times before you do. But I do think you have an important message around this time to share. You might be buying a new car, a new phone, a new gadget, because these are third house things, and there's a conjunction to Saturn, meaning more responsibility. You're committing to it. So that could be a phone contract or something like that. Bear in mind, Capricorn, Mercury is retrograde, so do be careful with these type of matters. You might make the decision that you want to do this, but you can wait until after Mercury goes direct on the 15th of September. Some of you could be deciding you want to take a short trip as well. But your relationship to your siblings, your communities, your cousins, your aunts and uncles are all coming on under this blue moon. So there could be something quite unusual happening there as well. Ace of Swords. Yep, truth, clarity. Seven of Swords is underneath. I think a lot of you might be really wanting to be more honest about something. You could discover someone was telling a lie about something, unfortunately, with that Seven of Swords. That came up for you last time too. Eight of Wands. This is all about clear communication, asserting boundaries with other people, of course, with Saturn, asserting boundaries with yourself, asserting boundaries with your siblings, with your neighbors, perhaps with your cousins, your aunts, your uncles. But I also think perhaps just having very honest, important conversations with people. And you may also be hearing news about people as well. With the Page of Pentacles, maybe news, important conversations surrounding Virgos, Capricorns, and Taurus people in your life. And a lot of you may be deciding, as I say, to perhaps commit to a short course, a learning experience, a workshop, or something like that. That is going to be you're going to take it very seriously, Capricorn. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So Aquarius, welcome. The blue moon is in your second house. Just to cut straight to the chase, the blue moon's in your second house. Your finances, your income, your resources. The conjunction to Saturn. So this is a blue moon. You might have very rare experiences when it comes to your income and your money. That could be that you come into money in a very unusual way. Maybe more money than you're used to. Or it could be that you're actually going to purchase something that's very significant to you. And this might be something that's very important to you, Aquarius, in terms of your own personal goals and wants, because you're traditionally ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is conjunct this blue moon. So you might be buying something for yourself that's very significant, a very significant purchase. It feels important anyway. So if you're a musician, perhaps you're buying a guitar you've always wanted to buy. Maybe that somebody owned before you, and a musician that you admired owned before you. Maybe you're making a significant purchase that you're going to be taking very seriously for some reason. So a new home, perhaps you're purchasing a fridge that you're going to organize religiously. I don't know, Aquarius, but it feels like you might make a significant purchase that you wouldn't ordinarily make because it's a blue moon and it's rare, it's unusual. There can be a rare financial opportunity coming up as well. Or you may be taking your finances incredibly seriously at this time, Aquarius, with that conjunction to Saturn. You may be maturing financially with the conjunction to Saturn here. You might be finding that you are really taking your finances, the money that you make, very seriously. And if it's not at all financial, Aquarius, it's your values, it's your morals, it's what matters to you that you're taking very seriously and you're committing to at this time. But I do feel with so much in Virgo, you know, with the Sun and Mercury there, so much in Virgo, Sun and Mercury, being in play at this full moon, your financial axis is lit up. So there could be a lot of conversations back and forth about money, inheritances, shared resources, your partner's money, financials, and this blue moon might be putting your money into perspective, highlighting your finances and your personal income. 10 of Pentacles, a money card. I think a lot of you might actually be doing quite well financially. I think you might be making more money. You might have a flash of genius, how to make more money, how to set yourself up financially. And I also think there's a lot going on with home, family, being there for your family, connecting with your family. The legacy that you want to leave behind as well is coming into play for you, Aquarius. The Magician. I love this for you. You're manifesting abundance. You're manifesting a legacy for yourself because you're more in touch with your values. For some of you that are single, I also think you might be manifesting true love, the one. If you're single, if you're in a relationship, I feel like your partner might have some significant increase in their finances too that's going to benefit you in your relationship, or you might be manifesting money through another person. That's what I have for you, Aquarius, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.